It's August and it's hot. I'm back on the bike again and it feels absolutely amazing, you know, for like 10 minutes. And maybe that's just because I had the engine timed. I'm going over to Tim's for the night. Got all my usual road kit packed up. Cameras, tripod, clothes, extra clothes in case we eat some gas station taquitos. You already know how that goes. And road maintenance supplies. We were going to be crossing the Mojave Desert, aka the Gates of Hell, pretty early the next morning. The Mojave's a cool 110 degrees most of the day, and riding in it kind of feels like a dog with a hairdryer in its face. The Mojave was kind of just the beginning though. We were going to be riding out of the butt and into the to the famous Sturgis motorcycle rally in South Dakota. Just Tim and I for now, two semi-bisexual guys and the open road. I do always come back from these things a little bit changed in some way, and this one would be no exception. Anyway, after hitting the bottle pretty hard because we just missed that motherfucker Jay Dilla so goddamn much, I decided to load up one of my point and shoots preemptively. Actually, this Minolta is my mom's old camera. She used to use it on vacation to take pictures of, I guess, me and my kinda ugly sister.
Just gonna stand there and watch me like a perv.
3 a.m. arrived and it was time to go. But first it was time to artificially boot ourselves up with chemicals. FDA approved chemicals, not like a mound of cocaine. With that, we were off to and through the high desert, hoping to make it about 340 miles that morning before the sun, cooks us completely.
Sorry, neighbors.
From there on out, gas stations and shitty motels tucked away between highways would be what we call home. It is our first day of the trip though. 340 miles is a bit longer than what we typically do, but we weren't yet dead inside. Well, maybe we were in other ways, but for the here and now, we hadn't been crushing out miles day in and day out, so we're still fresh enough to get the job done.
Walk up feeling like a creep, so hungover I couldn't speak. I met the group last night and he shook my hand in the end and said, you ain't got the blues, what you gonna do about it?
Bike's looking good. Nothing fell off. It's a lighter pack. The lightest pack I've ever done for sure.
Made really good time, but the ambient temp around us was rising fast, and we soon hit an hour-and-a-half wall of traffic out in the middle of literal deserted f***ing nowhere, just a mere 15 minutes from our destination. And perhaps worst of all, there was an icy truck in front of us, like an oasis through a desert mirage.
Guess we didn't anticipate this by leaving early, huh? Man, it's getting hot.
I guess this is a pretty good argument for why lane filtering is legal in some places. Sadly not the place we were in, but with temperatures already hitting 95 out there at 8 a.m. and no air conditioning for us, we decided forgiveness was the best policy. And depending on who you ask, we allegedly did some filtering through literal miles of backup, in Minecraft. I mean, who knows what kind of footage you're looking at here, really? I certainly don't. Who's to say this isn't just early access gameplay footage from GTA 6?
I see this place has not changed much. Hey, they got bowling.
Well, it's a good thing we got here when we did. It's 95 right now. 8 in the morning.
I hate this town.
Eventually Eventually we settled into our $30 room and cranked the AC. We started shaking like an engine violently misfiring, but goddamn was it cold.
Hey, what'd you think that guy meant when he said his sister rides the same bike as you?
I decided to load up my Rolleiflex, my beautiful TLR road companion, now freshly out of the shop and fixed.
I hate it when this happens. Can we not make a better tape technology here?
The TLDR on my TLR is that on my last motorcycle trip to Washington, the front bayonet filter thread kind of fell off, which definitely made it really hard to use the camera, much less use filters.
I need to get a haircut before we left.
Dude, I didn't have time. I just cut my own hair. It looks fantastic.
I asked our repair friend Gus out on the East Coast for a tune-up, which probably turned into a complete overhaul, and he did an incredible job. This camera's from the 1950s, and at least to me, it felt like it had a new life. So yeah, I also have this other similar Minolta for black and white work. It's gray, just so I don't catastrophically mix it up with the other one.
This roll of film is on fire. It's been in my backpack this whole time. No exposure to the sun. I'm gonna put it in front of the air conditioning.
This was a roll of Kentmere 400 that I was attempting to push to 1600. Emphasis on attempting. I ordered some 1600 ISO DX code stickers for this roll after I think I looked it up and it was suggested that this camera can recognize, 1600 ISO. A possible remnant in the programming left over from the days of, Natura and Neopan, no doubt. After that, I think, we're ready to be basically dormant in our cave for the next 14 hours or so.
That was dramatic, don't you think?
Yes.
Ass.
Or, f it. We can hit the local diner, ourselves. That's why we brought extra clothes, right? Hit the casino and then, go bowling. That sounds better, actually. Might as well make use of this place's astronomical electric bill. Eventually the sun went down and the ambient temp started to dip, though truly not by much. So I grabbed some 800T and walked around the property, neon lights glowing like a cheap, dirty oasis to a traveler lost in the desert. These shots would be some absolute heaters, especially this one. Very contrasty, good colors, and just a lot to look at. AI could never do this. Actually, yeah, it probably could. Art is dead.
Oh, I'm so tired, dude. Probably should have responsibly been back here about 5.
We're still gonna get plenty of sleep. Maybe.
Yeah.
Do you want the bathroom light on or anything?
What am I, 6?
The next morning, we were somewhat faced with the same problem. We had to get our asses out early before we got stuck in the desert heat bubble. So we begrudgingly packed up the bikes before, I spotted some morning light trickling into the room. You only get this kind of light like twice a day if you're lucky. So you might as well drop what you're doing and grab it while it's hot. But honestly, we got to get moving to a higher elevation out east. As Vladimir Harkonnen said that one time in that hit docudrama, the desert takes the weak, and well, I'm pretty sure he was talking about me.
Okay, I'm just gonna do St. George. Yes, Google Maps, I'd like to walk there.
It was time to visit Black Bear Diner in Utah that morning for a quick conference on how the day would probably go. We had already knocked out about 40 miles from our 325-mile day. A cool 12% really works up an appetite, so we got some coffee. The only people in there drinking the stuff.
Yeah, we're in Utah.
Anyway, we were already 4 hours behind now because I fell asleep on the toilet, so let's hit the road some more. This isn't Star Trek where space moves around you. It's reality, so we gotta move to it. Our second stop of the day, this little horny-ass Utah town called Beaver, 44% of the day down.
Sturgis bound. Cool.
I'm feeling it a little bit.
Yeah, take a decent break here. It's just leftover from yesterday, I think.
Oh, and yeah, Tim and I have comms now. We don't need to rely on hand signals to communicate with each other on the road now, which is probably a good thing. I'm sure Tim's middle finger was getting pretty tired. Before we knew it, we were back on the road and things were feeling motorcyclical, gas up, ride for an hour and a half, complain about your ass, and then find another gas station. I wouldn't trade it for anything, honestly. Some days are better than others for sure, but I do often dream about a life on the road like this. Things in my life obviously aren't set up for that and likely never will be, so it's just a fantasy. But these 2-week trips out into the country really do give me a slice of what that life kind of would look like sometimes. And I mean, just imagine the gas station photography that would happen. Speaking of, we were about to meet our next hurdle about 68% of the way through our route that day.
That was actually quite a pleasant ride, all things considered.
The next 100 or so miles was straight Utah desert. No gas stations till some place called Green River. My tank can hold about 130 miles on a good day, closer to 110 depending on how much we break the law. While on our smoked meats break, I noticed that someone threw out a bouquet of flowers in a gas station trash. And if that doesn't tell a story, I don't know what does. I shot it on black and white for no good reason. I don't really think I did it justice either. You can't even tell it's a gas station from the photo, and the bouquet doesn't really read. This wider shot corrects the former, but still doesn't read the bouquet very well. A missed opportunity.
You ready to do this crossing?
The 100 or so miles of barren land sure was beautiful though. No real signs of life other than, I guess, the road and the trucks droning on like zombies, completely uninterested or maybe even unaware of our presence. It's times like these that I think of the Biker's Bible, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, a book everyone on 2 wheels should probably read. And I can confidently say that because I still haven't finished the damn thing. The author talks about feelings of great intense space on roads with less traffic, so perhaps that's why now it pops into my head. There's a concept in that book that I found interesting though. The author, Robert Pirsig, posits that most people are either categorically romantic or classical thinkers. A romantic mind is someone who sees a Porsche, or Porsche, if you pronounce it correctly because it's the German word for horsey. They see this beautiful car and admire the design of the body and the world-class look. Conversely, a classical mind is someone that finds beauty and order in mathematics and schematics. This person sees a Porsche and admires how the engine is built, how the machine runs, and how it's all put together. You could whittle down this idea of classical versus romantic thinkers as art versus science, but I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that. Though I do often wonder which camp I fall into sometimes. Though to be honest, all I could really think about on that crossing is how much I hated this dollar store ass windshield that couldn't block a rogue fart, much less any wind in front of me. Anyway, here's Green River, Utah. Don't worry if you've never heard of it. The US government probably wishes you'd never heard of it either. Tim told me that they used to mine uranium here. I'm about to be 2 for 2 on shitty motels. We rolled up to the Budget Inn, where some old guy checked me into the room in his bathrobe, which is probably harassment of some kind, but I didn't really care because it was kind of hot. The temperature outside, not the bathrobe guy.
Well, I guess there's gonna be a 1-bed buffer between us.
Yeah, dude, we hauled ass today.
We didn't waste time, man.
This was without a doubt one of the worst motel rooms I've ever stayed at. I must document it. I've stayed in some straight up third world shanties prettier than this, but it was a spectacle, and I had to photograph it. Starting with some 800T and my mom's point and shoot of the bathroom that had this like vibrant yellow tile that probably used to be white. These shots are pretty good, no complaints. But eventually I moved on up to the big leagues and busted out the Rolleiflex and E100. There was certainly some trial and error, but between Tim and I trying to figure out, I guess, the angle of this room and the lighting, we eventually connected the dots like two cavemen discovering, rocks aren't food.
Maybe I'll shoot doubles. Half a second, half a hit.
What are you exposing for it?
I'm exposing I'm putting the wall at neutral gray. Alright.
Definitely a backshot photo. A backlit photo. And E100 as a stock definitely hates backlighting, so what the f was I thinking? I don't know. I think my brain was turned to scrambled egg or something through that heat. This is definitely American still life. And by that I mean we were in America. I took a still photo, and at some point someone probably lost their life on this bed. I do like this shot though. Very moody and very simple. Just beautiful in like a stagnant kind of way. Alternatively, here's what Tim came up with. He's been on a bit of a silhouette binge lately and has been crushing it. He actually has a channel now that he's been slowly uploading his work to. So if you're in the mood for something, I guess, more digestible that, you know, isn't full of stupid quips that make you want to punch your computer just to turn it off, then go check it out. Anyway, like starving artists, we were, well, starving. So we braved the 100-degree heat and headed into downtown, or what's left of it anyway. Here's a fun fact for you. They filmed a scene in Thunderbolts at this old gas station. But whatever, after a $75 PB&J, we were satiated, which, like, yeah, it kind of sounds dirty, but it isn't. With the evening light getting pretty low upon the old facades in that ghost town, we set off looking for some subjects. Sure, yeah, we had just about no energy left, but when the light is good, the light is good. Which, if you're superstitious, you should probably never say out loud because the sun will just go behind a cloud, and there it goes. Anyway, after turning this drug-free zone into just a zone, I shot all sorts of shit here. I'm in no place to really be that picky. When there was light, I'd shoot color, and when the sun went behind a cloud, black and white. Pretty simple, all things considered.
Might have to be color.
I did try color here, but it just didn't really click. I quite like this alternative though. It tells a simple and concise story and does it well within the tones of Kentmere. A little glowy, you know, in all the right places. When the light finally came back one final time for the evening, I took this shot and didn't really think much of it in the moment, but it definitely turned out to be my favorite from the set. Just more of those classic orange and blue tones that make it a nice color contrast, and an abandoned shithole motel in the background. Oh wait, that's our motel. Of the 16 exposure roll of E100 in the rollie, I got 8 keepers and 3 portfolio shots. Not too bad. But it was time to call it a wrap and get the hell out of there before it gets uglier than it already is. Or maybe beautifulier. The sunset was quite nice that evening, and the blue hour even held out for a minute. So back at the room, I grabbed my 800T and busted a quick cap in this motel sign's ass. A motel that's probably much nicer than ours and doesn't give you itchy ass the next morning. At this point, you might be noticing a trend with the 800T and neon signs, and if you do, shut the f*** up. It's an overdone crutch for a reason. Back at the room, it was time for the best part of the day, winding down with a cold one. We got a lot of good stuff that day, so go ahead. Enjoy that shower beer, Jason, and also enjoy your future cirrhosis. That morning, it was time to get out of that bum-ass motel. But this town had one more surprise up its sleeve, and no, it actually wasn't a rusty shiv. It was another abandoned motel that we spotted while we were getting gas. So we popped on by real quick to check it out. The shadows were still long enough that morning for color, so that's what I shot. Though, you know, in retrospect, it was a pretty colorless place.
Cool spot. You don't come across like that all the time. In this town, it's a dime a dozen. Do you have directions up? Alright, I'll follow you.
Dream Cafe, huh, buddy?
We still had a lot of acreage to cover on our horse-powered wagons after breakfast. That day was a 350er, 250 after our morning route to Grand Junction, a place that we kind of thought we hated through past experience.
We're gonna be back in Grand Junction in like a week anyway. I just realized.
We camped there a few years ago in the absolute dead heat, but maybe that's kind of our fault. Though I still don't really know why there are 2 James M. Robb campgrounds on opposite sides of this town. Did this mysterious James M. Robb character love f***ing over confused travelers? And if so, why the hell are we celebrating that? Whatever, 350 miles isn't really anything when the ride is through the mountains and quite scenic. And also when it means that Tim and I aren't going to be alone with our thoughts anymore. We'd be joined by our third stain on society waiting for us in Denver, Brendan, a regular in these videos.
No name, half a mile, huh? How they built this highway and then eventually we're just like, F it, we'll go through the mountain. Home to the mountain. Wondering about what I do with the cameras when we go through rain. I keep a plastic bag in here, keep them nice and suffocated. Home to the mountain. Must be this place that looks like a fucking castle. Anyway, we eventually made it to Denver. Well, Thornton, same shit, I guess. And we woke Brendan's lazy ass up.
What's wrong with you? Just woke up.
Straight up, I will tell you this now. Nothing of significance happened that night.
Should we just keep this tonight?
Are you guys hungry?
Starving.
Yeah,
We're going to Applebee's to go clown around at Applebee's. Eat the apples and the bees and then leave. We'll just call that.
Is that all they serve?
Okay, well, let's get some Dollaritas so I can pass out at a solid 8 p.m.
Yeah, I'll
Shit myself at 9.
I'd be horrified if I was a maid and I walked in and I saw towels sticking to the ceiling.
I made you 2 cups of coffee, Brendan. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that.
Hey, I want one.
That morning we filled up our bikes with the usual half diesel, half white Monster energy drink. If you know, you know. And hit the road.
Alright. Enough chit chat, ladies.
We didn't get far into our 375-mile day before breakfast was calling. After all, today was the day we'd be rolling into Sturgis, and we certainly didn't know what we were in for.
Coffee with a view.
That day was nice, actually. We were pretty much just crossing the plains of Wyoming until, I guess, South Dakota eventually showed up. There wasn't a lot of much of anything. No trucks on those country highways, just a biker every few miles, and the open road. And, you know, the occasional empty tank of gas.
Well, we saw a sign that said next service is 73 miles. I got 58 on the range. My windshield's all f***ed up. I do have spare fuel, but it's going to be cutting it a bit close for all 3 of us. So we kind of have to double back 11 minutes. I forgot that Wyoming is the least populous state or something like that. This is hella scenic, too. Oh, out of service. It's out of service everywhere.
Classical versus romantic thinking. I dwell on it a bit oftentimes because there's, I guess some kernel of truth to it. Piercing does suggest that it's either one or the other. There's no in between. And in some cases, I do think that is true. I have friends that clearly fit one side of the coin. They just kind of obsess over the technical details of everything, whether it's tech, engines, law, coding, Microsoft Excel, honestly, whatever. They seem to kind of get bored going to things like movies and galleries. But, you know, where would we be without people like that? This crossing of the plains makes me wonder which category I belong to.
Another gas station stop. Unfortunately, the mart is closed. Yeah, look at that cloud sail over the horizon. Luckily, we're not going that way. We're going this way.
To myself, I'm a romantic brain, probably the less useful of the two. Between the photography, admiring mid-century paintings, and finding beauty in form, it's kind of obvious to me. But oftentimes I think I can fall in the camp of classical as well. It's just as easy for me to spin. I labor over the technicalities of photography. I study breakdowns of mid-century paintings to improve my own work, and I dissect what it is exactly about form that's appealing. I literally have spent thousands of dollars in 4 tedious-ass years developing a color infrared pipeline just to appease the other half of my stupid romantic brain. Whatever, another stretch of highway with no gas, this time 137 miles or so. Maybe we missed a station, I don't know. Oh well, the spare fuel will be needed for my tiny little lawnmower tank.
The hell of a stretch.
Yeah, I was getting nervous, man.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, I don't see anything around here.
I've known Tim for quite a while, and I'd say he's somewhat of an exception to Piercing's rule, and ultimately is what made me understand that it's, I guess, not so black and white all the time. I've definitely seen it firsthand, him finding beauty in the mechanics of everything and wanting to understand how a thing works. Oftentimes while we're out camping, we've stared up at the cosmos on really dark nights, and he's explained to me the latest understandings of astronomy. Shit that I can't even fathom, but seems to be second nature understanding to him. I appreciate it for sure, but I'm also happy to just sit there and admire the beauty of the arms of the Milky Way, knowing it's entirely possible we may never fully come to understand it all. And yet, Tim is an avid photographer and cinematographer, producing some work that I think is one of a kind and definitely true to him. Though I think it's human nature to want things to be simple and categorical. That's just kind of not how things work all the time. I think Piercing is wrong. To me, Tim breaks that rule of classical versus romantic. He has both lines of thinking, and it's not as strict as ones or zeros. Anyway, whatever. It's not my job to reflect on human nature. My job is to ride this bike somewhere I can take photos. Rolling into Sturgis from the Black Hills gave us a glimpse of what's to come. It was certainly a spectacle, unlike anything I've ever seen. It was truthfully a game of who can have the loudest exhaust on their Harley. It was like Coachella, but for people that had seen prison time.
The only thing is, all of our bikes are going to have like tons of bugs and shit all over it. Not going to be as clean as everybody else's. Get a foot-long corn dog. I'll know if it's a foot long.
You know, to be honest, day one out there was a bit of a sensory overload for me. Things were feeling kind of ratchet, and I'm not just talking about the straps. Sturgis Motorcycle Rally has been around about 83 years now. It originated as a simple meetup for racing and a place to do cool stunts, but I guess it evolved into what it is today by more and more interested parties showing up to the event annually. From my understanding, it began as like a 3-day meetup, but now spans about 2 weeks or so, and we were there kind of towards the latter. Eventually, though, we landed at our Airbnb the next few days on a quiet suburban intersection that, you know, isn't so quiet while the rally's in town.
Is that a cool spot?
Yeah.
I don't consider beer.
But all things considered, we had been ass and saddle for quite some mileage to be there. It was time to take it easy and just enjoy.
Alright, call in the air. Who's calling it? Tails.
Tails never fail.
Tails. I want this shit back.
We hit the town amongst all the commotion, drank a beer, and then lady and tramped the cheese off a pizza between the three of us, which definitely drew some curious looks, but whatever. Anyway, I guess I finished a roll. Don't remember shooting much the past few days, but okay, sure. 8 or 9 keepers and 1 portfolio shot. I feel like I don't really get portfolio shots as much on outings like these, and I think it's because the shots are more documentative than like my attempt to be an artsy-fartsy photographer. Whatever, there was a neighborhood cat there that definitely loved me more than any human ever has or ever will, so I was happy. It wasn't really long before the rattle of that intersection echoed through the Airbnb. Hold the B&B because we had to do that part ourselves. I guess we're just paying for air. Anyway, after trying to prove I can be a homemaker for two strong, handsome men who berate me in more ways than one, I began dealing with a coffee maker that just absolutely pissed coffee everywhere. But whatever, it was time for our first down day. What was on the agenda for a day off? Certainly not cat anus. Actually, I decided to grab my Rolleiflex and head into the madness. E100 just at the ready. It was another classic case of interesting subjects, but shitty midday light. Though I did come across some other photographers shooting film as well, which made the whole experience a lot more approachable.
So that guy mowing his lawn with a Honda lawnmower has about the same engine I have in my Honda motorcycle. He has better control over it though.
Apparently this rally was quite the show compared to recent years. The amount of attendees was up 11%, totaling to over 500,000 visitors. It was nice having a down day where we didn't do honestly. It took the pressure, I guess, physically off our asses, and we were able to more or less acclimatize to the chaos. I don't know, you just gotta see it to believe it.
Alright, good morning to all my neighbors. Heading up to Deadwood, trying to beat the morning traffic. Was hoping for a sunrise. It's a little overcast. Maybe we'll still get one. It's kind of crazy seeing this place with no bikes in it.
It was field trip day for us into the Black Hills. The first stop was Deadwood, which we woke up hella early for after checking the shadow map. But whatever, the lighting failed us. Bringing the 800T would have been smart, but really didn't think I'd need it for sunrise. I took a few shots on E100, but they kind of mostly suck eggs. I'm not incredibly sure what happened here, but it's not a bad shot, I guess, to add to the accidentally underexposed ectochrome collection I've been brewing up. But let's get a move on to greener pastures through the hills.
How do I say goodbye? Heaven knows I'd stay, but I have to run. Here calling my name. Life won't be the same, so I'm leaving now. Don't know if I'll come back around, even if I bleed on the pavement. I'm leaving now. I've been wandering through the woods, stumbling down the road with a thorn in my gap.
like the shot a lot. Couldn't tell you why though, it's not very colorful. Oh well. One of the bison was getting kind of close. We pieced out pretty quickly because of, you know, prison rules. If someone or something is bigger than you and it comes to fight or flight, get the f*** out of there. Anyway, speaking of prison, we found some ass.
They seem pretty chill with all this noise.
That wrapped up another roll of E100. Not the best I've seen, but also not bad. 8 or so keepers, maybe 1 portfolio shot. I mean, I kind of like it.
TTB, time to bounce. This open prairie is just utterly, utterly gorgeous.
This shot is pretty minimalistic. I do kind of wish I could have gotten higher up though to see more of the road. It feels a little squished. Something like up here maybe could have worked. Whatever, eventually we departed the quiet, endless prairies and made it back to the chaos that was Sturgis. A harsh contrast. We had an awesome day out there, and the only way to celebrate was by, I guess, grilling some meats up and shotgunning a beer, which made all the passerbys quite proud. Anyway, after sleeping on the Spine F***er 3000 all night, it was time to make some coffee, answer emails, figure out who the hell drank 2 cases of our beer, and do some laundry, all while basking in the natural morning ambiance. Today was going to be our last day at the rally, and for sure we would make the most out of it. But I was hit pretty early on with a problem when I checked my bike that morning.
Alright, bit of a situation this morning. That sounds over dramatic. The windshield on my bike snapped yesterday. Must have been just going too fast. It happens all too easily on this bike. Too much power, you know? Hi, kitty. There's a Memphis Shades booth here in Sturgis. I kind of doubt they would have a fairing for the Rebel 1100. If they don't, I think I'm just going to take this windshield off and be windshieldless for the ride home, which will suck.
At least it looks a lot cleaner now.
Well, there it is. There's the new windshield. Wasn't cheap, but I figure I'll get some good years out of it. It's as good as a windshield will look on a bike, you know what I mean? Windshields don't look good on bikes.
The roll of black and white in the Minolta was cherried as well. Remember how I was supposed to push that shit 2 stops because I replaced the DX code on that cartridge of Kentmere? Well, take a look at this contact sheet. I've pushed a lot of Kentmere over the years and never had results like these. Very bright and very dense. I'm a little skeptical that the camera read 1600 ISO, but if it didn't, I don't know what it read. Maybe it just defaulted to 100 ISO, in which case it still had that 2-stop push. I don't know, but I do know I'm not gonna do it again in this camera. 16 keepers, 1 portfolio shot. Because I think I somehow knew that something was up with the previous roll, I just slammed in some retrochrome, a stock I really haven't shot in a long time, a stock that you people either love or hate with like the burning passion of 1,000 suns. So that evening we saddled up the horses and headed out east to a saloon we'd only ever heard tale of. Like the rest of Sturgis, Full Throttle Saloon was basically a Harley-Davidson parking lot, but it was quite the spectacle to pull up to. Basically a carnival out in the middle of nowhere. It's considered the world's largest biker bar and is, I guess, relatively new in the lore of Sturgis. Anyway, after parking the bike in a perfect domino formation, just waiting for someone to tip one over and have it cascade out of control, we agreed that when in Sturgis, do as the Sturges do, or whatever.
Dude, that is so metal.
Like everyone else there, we were welcomed in with a giant Conan O'Brien statue out front for some reason. All I had with me was the retrochrome and the Minolta, so I took a few shots here and there, and not only just of ass crack. Retrochrome is super expired. Field test Ectochrome from Area 51, allegedly. That's why it looks like that. Not because I suck at photography or anything, but you know, two things can be true. Oh well. Maybe some shots will help my shots.
I'm kind of sold on that already.
After sobering up pretty quickly because this wasn't no toilet moonshine like my body was used to. We walked around and observed what can only be described as rolling probable cause. Outside in the distance, a thunderstorm began moving across the prairie, perfectly in sync with sunset. It was stunning. I really like these shots too. Moody just about down to the root of the word. Anyway, me and the girlies decided to haul ass out of there before that shit was right over us.
Don't kiss me, man.
Alright. Be out of this hoe. That guy had a Rebel 1100. That's the first one I've seen this whole time.
That is such a cute dog. Oh my god. Hey, puppy.
After getting back to the Airbnb and accidentally lighting the grill on fire, I decided to grab my 800T and go for a short walk. And the neighborhood cat definitely had thoughts and feelings about it. That previous roll of 800T was solid. 15 keepers and yeah, maybe a portfolio shot or two. Good job, Jason. That night was pretty captivating otherwise. We just stood around in silence admiring fire and grilled meat.
I like that shot. Cinema, baby.
Dingleberry. Did you just say everything that comes to mind?
You classless, assless piece of shit.
I love how the last part didn't rhyme.
It was a haiku.
That morning the jig was up. It was time for us to leave Sturgis and get back home. But not without some neighborhood photography while the light was kind of good.
Well, peace out, Sturgis. It has been a wild time. I get it now. Sturgis is kind of whatever you want it to be, I think. We made it a pretty crazy time. Some people made it an even crazier time.
Well, every time I see the sun, the rooster crows for day. And every time I see that gal, she always looks away. Hold on, baby, just hold on. I'll be coming home, back where I belong. Hold on, baby, baby, just hold on. I'm getting right in full moonlight, twinkling in her eye. Little girl, she ain't got me yet, but Lord, she loves to try. Oh, Lord, she does try. Hold on, baby, just hold on. I'll be coming home, baby, back where I belong with you, baby. Hold on,
was a bit of a hike across the plains again. The landscape was more or less the same. No significant markers, so it feels like you're going nowhere. Some temperatures even hitting 102, though it doesn't really look like it from the footage. And to make matters worse, as we went up in elevation in Colorado, Brendan's bike started acting funny, which out of an overabundance of caution we took pretty seriously. After all, we kind of have to. We're all we got out there. And in solidarity, we began screaming inside, like fish whenever Bikini Bottom burns down. Maybe it was vapor lock. Whatever it was a nice reprieve to be off the bike for a minute. That day would be 373 miles all said and done. Eventually, though, we continued onward, up into the mountains into cooler air.
Who the f*** decided to build a road here?
Brand new windshield. Was clean this morning. Alright. Long day. What do you think? Time to watch videos?
You can't put this on the internet. Yeah, come on.
Did those Rocky Mountain oysters pop in your mouth?
Shut up. They don't have a shower, but they make the toilet big enough to bathe in.
Dude, the shower basically becomes a toilet. It's like clogged.
You guys stop.
No, I'm serious. It is clogged.
Can I borrow some underwear?
No. Didn't you just do laundry like 2 days ago?
It doesn't work.
I do be shitting.
That's what we're sleeping on. And that's what Tim is sleeping on.
We'll be alright.
You can be a functional meth user.
Shower's draining awfully slow, my guy.
I told you it was clogged.
With us all standing around gooning in the hotel room, whatever that means, I don't know. I just hear the kids say it a lot. Brendan went outside to further diagnose the issues he was having with his bike, and I grabbed my point and shoot with 800T in it. The next day was more or less a down day. We weren't going far, just over the ridge of Rocky Mountain National Park to land ourselves in a place called Grand Lake, where the motels become lodges. A total of 50 miles or so. Progress towards home, but also an easy day.
That's the Stanley Hotel, where they I think they filmed exteriors for The Shining out there.
Just like that, we were up the mountain. Just kidding. There was hella traffic in the park.
God damn.
At the top there, about 12,100 feet up, I encountered some wild Baxters here and there.
It's beautiful.
A sign that we were inching closer to home. But I also took the opportunity to shoot a little bit, mainly really just a test of fresh Ektachrome versus expired Ektachrome, otherwise sold as Retrochrome, just kind of to satisfy my curiosity. It was definitely a beautiful ride down from there. Tim and I actually came this way a few years ago while we crossed the nation, and it was one of our favorite days of the trip. Maybe nostalgia played a part. Hell, I'm getting a little misty watching it back. Or, you know, maybe it's just a beautiful route. Both things can certainly be true. Upon landing at our spot for the night in town, I think I had photography on the mind more than, I guess, usual. Perhaps because we still had some energy and our asses weren't completely burnt out yet from being in the saddle for 6 hours. 16 exposures, 8 or 9 keepers. Portfolio shots though, I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, that's gonna get me drunk fast.
On an empty stomach. Oh, that's gonna be great.
Dude, we were riding a couple days ago and this rock hit my knee and it hurts so fucking bad, man.
I got stitches when I was like 12 on my shin. A rock kicked up from the road and hit right on where that scar was. Have you ever had like a scar that's like still sensitive?
Yeah.
Dude, it felt so weird. Anyway, whatever. It was our day off kinda, so it was time to get some dinner, and so much beer it'd make some poor server quit their job today. But it was a good chance to bust out the rollie for some fake sunset photos. A nearby fire was making the light golden hour orange a bit earlier than expected. But the shots around town were nice. More artsy than documentative. Going for that painterly look. And I think mission accomplished to some degree. And not a single person out there asked me about my retro style camera like usual. I fear film photography has become too mainstream and I must quit to find a new niche hobby. Getting a little bit of ash from the fire. We'll have to see how it looks in the morning. Other than Grand Lake weirdly having a Christmas tree up in August. We basically just cracked some beers and
Cheers, boys.
stared at our bikes with our fingers in our belly buttons like usual that evening. The next morning was rough. We had to say goodbye to our friend Brendan.
Let me turn it so it says full throttle.
Yeah, get a little creative with it.
Yes, yeah, I hope now.
When are you leaving again?
Friend may be a bit of a stretch. More like eye candy that we tolerate.
Until next time.
Just had to get one more in, huh?
Either way, now Tim and I would have nowhere else to run with our mutual sexual tension. Whatever, we were finally off towards our most exciting location yet, breakfast. But, you know, after that, we were on a route through the mountains of Colorado, heading towards I-70. 200 or so miles isn't so bad considering what we've been doing. But, you know, if a lot of it is on dirt and gravel, well, that makes things a little bumpy and slow. But a good frontiersman never complains about anything. They just enjoy the adventure and then promptly die at the age of 40. Whoa! What does all that romantic, classical shit have to do with photography? I suppose I think sometimes photographers who, you know, may be more classically minded than romantic, they get hung up on, I guess, the less important details. They fixate all their brain power on gear and the technical performance of that gear instead of the, I guess, overall work produced.
Oh, that was a big pothole.
A good example might be, you know, nitpicking details over a specific camera versus another camera that essentially does the same thing. I get a lot of people reaching out to me about whether they should get the Mamiya 7 or the Pentax 6.7. The Mamiya 7 can do 1/500th of a second, whereas the Pentax 6.7 can do 1/1000th of a second, but it's a little bit heavier.
Yeah, this is how you drop bikes.
I mean, it's a valid thing to think about for sure, and we definitely always want the best of something. But at the end of the day, the gear is still a tool, like my ex's new boyfriend. Tools are there to accomplish a purpose. We do photography to take great photos, not slobber over the gear, right? Cameras exist and are there to make great work. At the end of the day, both the Pentax 6.7 and Mamiya 7 are incredible cameras that will service your photographic needs for a long time. One stop of difference in shutter speed won't really make or break your photography. Don't get me wrong, I used to be that person too, and still am to some degree. But the more I shoot, the more I guess enjoy putting whatever little precious critical thinking I have left into the work instead of the nominal details of something that serves the work. whatever. Maybe Piercig has more to say on the subject. Someday I'll finish that damn book. Anyway, to revisit this thread, Grant Junction, maybe not so bad. Not great either. Let's not get carried away. We didn't really get up to much that evening. Tim smoked me in poo, which is his own version of the game of pool. We shot a little and just kind of got ready to move on. Another early start. We were headed into the desert, so it only made sense. An added bonus, the sunrise light looks amazing while you double chin it and pack up the bike. Especially on retrochrome. This shot is fantastic. A much simpler alternate to the wider shot. And a for rent sign clearly visible front and center, making it the, I guess, unintended subject. Like my boy Edward Hopdog, I just wanted to take good photos of good light on the sides of buildings. But let's shut up for now and move it along. I have at least one more photo to show you. Maybe more, I don't know. We're going to be doing 338 miles that day, putting us in arm's reach of home. It really didn't take long before the roads kind of split out and opened up to countryside. A whole hell of a lot of nothing between way stations. Almost makes it exciting to be back in, you know, bum-ass Green River as it's your last stop for services for like 100 miles. That 100 miles was very peaceful, as it always is, you know, until it isn't. Something about nowhere to go but forward and no distractions really makes your mind swim, and I love that. Anyway, a service station finally appeared, like a remote outpost to an astronaut left adrift. I had probably like 2 miles left on the tank, so that was cutting it a little close.
Dude, I'm like straight up out of gas. My estimated range went down to like 5 miles left, and then after that it just shit itself and was like, nah, I don't know.
When you're hungry, just remember there's always loose hard-boiled egg.
Loose.
I've taken the shot 1,000 times over, but I think I finally got it right here. The colors just really pop against a, you know, bright blue sky. Anyway, eventually we made it to Cedar City, Utah. What a f***ing place. And not for any good reason.
It's a cool sign.
We had to make ourselves busy until check-in, so we got some lunch and found a dive bar. After all, 3 p.m. was starting to feel like our 9 p.m. with all these early days. But at least it was a good chance to break out the 800T in the Minolta for an atmospheric photo of a pool shark. This shot of the arcade at Magic Hour is quite good. It might even have to go into the portfolio. It's the colors, for sure. Just a simple composition with good lighting. And yeah, you know, all the motel lizards wandering around that night saw me taking it as an opportunity to, I guess, run their spiel to me about their conspiracy theories regarding free parking, of all things. I don't know, it was kind of a tough line of thinking to follow.
Cedar City, Utah.
Joke. I was walking around talking about free parking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Tim summed it up pretty nicely.
We got out of there pretty fast that morning. Our engine's probably startling their hungover asses.
He's like, wait, don't pay for parking anywhere.
The sunrise was beautiful that morning as we followed our usual playbook. Get out early to beat the heat of the desert. Time is kind of the only way to have an upper hand out there. We were heading to our spot. You know, the only spot 2 weary travelers like us could have a good time for a price. Vegas. More or less a gateway to the Mojave. And beyond that, LA. It would be maybe a bit too much to push all the way back, so we'd find comfort in a perpetual blacked out state in the one place that kind of welcomes it. was time for us to do what we do best in 107-degree heat. Stay inside in the air conditioning. Another fun time in Vegas like usual, but honestly, I don't know how long all this will be here. There seems to be a lot of indication that the Vegas that once was is all kind of dying off. I don't mean to draw comparisons, but Tim and I aren't going to be out here doing this forever either. It is mentally and physically taxing oftentimes. Eventually, we're going to grow old if we haven't already, and it's going to be much more difficult for this reason or that reason. You know, still a long ways away, hopefully, but obviously we're going to push it as far as we can because we're still having fun with it. But yeah, you know how it is and how it can be. I guess that's entropy for you. There was a lot of great work produced on this one. I'm happy with most of it, even if it's more, I guess, documentative than artistic. For now, I'm pretty tired, and we're still a long way from home, all things considered. I had some 800T left in the Minolta, which yielded some okay shots, I suppose. The last of the Retrochrome didn't really turn up much, and the rest of the E100 in the Rolly was nothing spectacular either. Oh well, it's kind of like what Ansel Adams used to say constantly. Art is like a fart. If you try to force it, it's probably shit.